This podcast is brought to you by our friends at Minimal Cases. We've talked about Minimal before. These cases are so thin, you'll forget that they're there, but the protection they provide is very, very real. And right now, Minimal is offering our listeners 35% off of your order, maybe for that new iPhone 11 you just picked up, by using the promo code DIGITDAILY or by clicking the link in the show notes. That's mnmlcase.com and use the promo code DGITDAILY with no space to get 35% off your order, and we thank them for sponsoring this podcast. Good morning, Digit fam. Adam Dowd here, closing out the week with you, my bestest buddies. You know, last night on the Android Authority podcast, I was reminded about how important reviews are for podcasts. Fortunately, every review that I find for this podcast has been great. 5 stars across the board, which gives me all the warm tinglies. But we could use some more. Reviews fuel discovery, and we want to get to as many ears as possible. So if you could help a brother out and drop a review for the podcast, preferably in iTunes or Apple Podcasts, I'll be your best friend. But for now, it is September 27th, 2019, and this is your Digit Daily. We try to bring you a breakdown of the best deals you can pick up in various categories every week for our Digit Intelligence. Usually, there are a lot of options to choose from, and we break it down for you. In the past, OnePlus really hasn't been all that confusing. Just 2 phones, one in the spring, one in the fall. Well, OnePlus done gone and flipped the script, so we feel it's generally warranted to call this a Digit Intelligence, just so we can help you break things down a little bit. OnePlus announced a few new devices yesterday, and it's fair to say in 2019, OnePlus has gotten a little confused. Let's take a look. The OnePlus 7T comes to us with a distinctive Oreo stapled to the back of its phone. It's a huge black circle reminiscent of old Windows Lumia phones, but unfortunately without that same camera. Now, there are 3 cameras that, if I know OnePlus, are probably only slightly crappy. Compared to the OnePlus 7, this is a big step up. The OnePlus 7T gets the 90Hz refresh rate and triple camera setup that were only available on the OnePlus 7 Pro. To be clear, there will probably be a 7T Pro variant at some point as well. It's been highly rumored, but we're still talking about the non-Pro. Confused? Okay, stay with me. The OnePlus 7T pricing is a bit more than its predecessor at $599, for which you get the Snapdragon 855 Plus, 8GB of RAM, and a 3800 mAh battery, which, in the words of Android Authority reviewer David Amell, is not amazing. Meanwhile, OnePlus has another launch event coming up on October 10th, so I guess that's when we'll see the OnePlus 7T Pro or some kind of 5G variant in London. Got me shrugging. But this isn't quite weird enough, so let's kick it up a notch with OnePlus's new line of TVs. Wait, TVs? Yes, TVs. We've got the OnePlus TV 55Q1 and the OnePlus TV 55Q1 Pro for the professional TV watchers, I guess. In what universe does a TV need a Pro brand name? Seriously. So the difference between the Pro version, and if you hear a little derision in my voice, that's because I'm going to harp on this Pro name for a while. Anyway, the difference between the OnePlus TV 55Q1 and the OnePlus TV 55Q1 Pro, sorry, threw up in my mouth a little bit. The difference is in a built-in soundbar, and about $400. Remember when all TVs came with speakers? What do I know? The TV is only launching in India for now, but overall seems to have positive reviews, so it's got that going for it. Meantime, I'm just going to contemplate what a professional TV watcher does while we head into the Roundup! And here we go. The first My Galaxy Fold Got Damaged story is out now. TechCrunch reported that in just a hair over 24 hours, a weird discoloration shows up right in the crease of their review unit. So here's a newsflash. The screen on the Galaxy Fold is really honkin' delicate. You can't even touch it with your fingernail. Does this reinforce the narrative that it's breakable? Of course it does, because it is. I'm just wondering if Samsung should take some cues from Huawei and figure out how to build a screen that wraps around the outside that won't be damaged by fingernails, and then apply that to their inside folding screen. Facebook is starting to hide like counts on posts in Australia, presumably to test out the feature before rolling it out everywhere. Facebook says that this is to help relieve stress and peer pressure, but I can't help but think that Mark Zuckerberg got into like a like fight with somebody else on Facebook and then lost, and then was like, fine, we'll get rid of all the likes. How do you like that? Snippy Zuck is snippy. And speaking of crappy companies run by terrible people, Uber has a special investigations unit that it assembled to look into reports of crimes committed between drivers and passengers. That's good. Some of the investigators have diverse investigative backgrounds like cashier or barista. That's not so good. The Uber investigation team has had felonies confessed to them, and that's good. Uber prevented their investigators from calling the police. That's kind of insane. You see, Uber doesn't want to be held liable for any crimes that make it look like they're taking sides. According to an Uber spokesman, quote, "At the end of the day, we're not the judge and jury to determine whether a crime has occurred. We're here to gather information, make a business decision. We're not law enforcement." And that's absolutely right. Law enforcement is law enforcement. And not reporting confessed felonies because you might have to pay some barista $1 more an hour to go to court and testify is in fact a business decision. But it's also kind of a move. And finally, Tesla rolled out a major update to its cars today, and the key feature here is the Smart Summon technology that lets your Tesla drive itself to you in a parking lot. Okay, this is pretty future, but I also have to wonder what liability will be like on this. Like, if you summon your car and the tech fails and it runs into somebody, who's getting sued? Because you know someone is getting sued. Plus, the update allows you to stream Netflix or Hulu to the car's touchscreen while parked, which still seems like a terrible idea. Everybody knows that cars are for podcast listening. So that's going to do it for today's Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on Digit.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com. Once again, I'm Adam Dowd, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again on Monday.